Hi everyone, I'm MaryAnn and welcome to day 14 of my 100-day creative vlog project. So every day for 100 days I am sharing my learnings about the creative process, about the artist journey, about pursuing your passion, about living a worthwhile purpose, going after what truly matters to you, manifesting your dreams and all these good stuff in between. So if you have questions about these things, do share them in the comments below, or you can also directly message me through any of my social media links that are in the write-up attached to these videos. I guess I've been a creative for most of my life. I have a lot of stuff that I want to share, and that's the reason why I started doing this this vlog series, because I think somewhere out there in the world somebody would need to hear what I have to say, and I'm just doing a job as an artist with an inspiration to express something, and I am just going with it. Okay, I'm no longer second guessing it. I have been second guessing this for months now, but I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. So this is me here doing it. The last couple of days I've been talking a lot about like a worthy pursuit and worthwhile pursuit, and I shared some of my own experiences as well when it comes to that. And I think, yesterday I was talking about how if there is something as a worthwhile pursuit for you, it will always keep coming back to you again, even if you don't pursue it at that point in time. So for me, it was art. When I was 8, I wanted to be an artist and I was discouraged from it. And even though I completely forgot about that for about 20 years, in those 20 years, art kept coming back to me through things like a sudden interest to, paint something out of the blue. Or like people complimenting and praising my doodles and my very sketchy looking drawings, and they all said it was nice, and I'm like, huh? Like, very nice, okay. So it's really interesting, but it was really interesting that I didn't see a lot of this until I was 29 and I did that drawing class, and then I rediscovered my dream to be an artist that I had since I was 8. And all of a sudden, everything just became clear. But in the meantime, the path that got me over those 20 years, from 8 years old to 28, it was a very non-linear path. Okay, it was like, it started pretty linear because, when I was 8, I was in elementary school, and then after that I went to secondary school here. And then 2 years of like a pre-university, what we call junior college here in Singapore. And then when I was 19, that was when I did I started doing my undergraduate degree in psychology in a local university here in Singapore. So that was still pretty linear, right? It's like the standard path that most of us would take in the life of our education, I guess. And then once you go to university, that's when things start to, become more interesting, right? Because some people, after you finish university, like, what's next? So I would say that, it became very, very non-linear ever since I started in university. Because what happened was, my dream ever since I was 16 was to be a singer-songwriter, contemporary Christian pop singer-songwriter. And at that point in time I was religious too, so I was always thinking about, what is God's plan, what is God's will for me. And because I thought that way, any inkling of something that came to me, I would always assume that it came from God, even though I wasn't completely sure, and I would go with it. So sometimes that came in the form of certain friends having certain interests, and because they had those certain interests, it also generated in me a certain kind of interest as well. So what am I talking about? Well, in my very final semester of university in Singapore, I was hanging out with a very interesting group of friends. So among this group of friends, one of them, he was a independent filmmaker, and then his girlfriend at the time, she was a local actress. So acting was something that I hadn't really considered as a profession, but it was kind of a dream that I had, that I imagined myself on screen and winning Academy Awards. This was back when I was 13 years old, way before my singer-songwriter dream emerged. So at that point in time, my dream was still, wanting to be a Christian pop singer-songwriter. But because I met this actress, and because she shared a lot about her life as an actor and what happens on set and things like that, and I got curious. And eventually I got curious enough that this, desire in me built up that, okay, I really want to give this a shot, because she seems like a normal person. I always thought actors were like some, celebrity type and like unattainable for us mortal beings. But she was like a normal human being, just like any one of us. And so I thought, if she can do it, maybe I could do it too. So that was, something that happened for me in my life that resulted in it being very non-linear after that, because I then started to pursue a career in acting, or rather explore a career in acting for about a year, and then that transitioned into me doing more like backstage production design type of work. And then from there, I decided that, okay, this line of work is, maybe it's really not for me, and I wasn't entirely sure either. And then I met someone who was a job recruit, who worked in a job agency, and she was looking for someone to work in retail for a costume jewelry brand from Denmark, and in a department store. And then I was like, okay, I'll just take it. And then that led to me working 6 months there. But then, when I was working there for 6 months, some other things happened that led to me applying to study music business and songwriting in Nashville. And it was this sequence of events that are non-linear, that is not typical, I guess. Not the typical route of like, okay, I studied psychology, I go and get a job in psychology, and so on. Yeah, and I guess what I'm saying is that, and then, when I went to Nashville to study music business and songwriting, in my last semester I did a drawing class, and that resulted in me remembering that I wanted to be an artist when I was 8 years old. And even then I thought that I had come full circle, and it's like, okay, I'm an artist now. But what I didn't anticipate was that over the last 7 years of me being an artist, even that was also a very non-linear path. So what I'm saying is that, life actually is not linear, right? But we are brought up to think that it is. We're brought up to think that, after you go to school, you need to go to university, and then after university, you need to get a job in what you studied in, and then find a partner, get married, have kids, settle down, work until you retire, and then, you can really do the thing that you're passionate about, right? Like, we are fed these ideas of how life needs to be a certain way or follow a certain plan. And even though we know that that's not the only way to live a life, at the same time, we're also bombarded by all these social media accounts of influencers who kind of portray a different style of living or a different way of living. And then we start to think that, that's the way we're supposed to live. So I guess what I'm saying is that, you're on your own path, right? And nobody can tell you whether it's right or not, because honestly, nobody's path is right or wrong. It is just what is right for you. It is just what is happening for you. It's just what's unfolding for you. Okay, so from one, non-linear path person to another, I'm telling you that it is normal, it is okay, and you don't have to feel like you are any different from, your friends who have taken a more conventional route. You are normal and you are fine. Just keep going at it. Just follow whatever inspiration comes to you, and eventually I believe that you will figure out what is best for you and what's right for you. So if you like today's video, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, or like my Facebook page wherever you're watching this on. And if you have questions, feel free to directly message me or share in the comments below, and I will see you tomorrow.